Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel again. Today we're gonna go over Rwanda economy in detail. I always do different video about different countries. If you're new, go and subscribe and also hit the notification bell. We'll be talking about so many different African countries on the economy and how we can actually move forward. So today we're gonna go over Rwanda economy. So a lot of people have been talking about that I should actually do Rwanda economy and show how all this phenomenon that happened, the Rwanda economy to grow from the poor country to actually a developing country. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with the very GDP of this country, right? It's actually a very small country per GDP. The GDP of the country 2018 was $9.5 billion. A very small country compared to Nigeria, Kenya, or South Africa. So talk about 2019 last year, the GDP grew about $1 billion, which was $10.2 billion GDP 2019. So what do you understand about this number? So the best thing about this number is that your GDP is growing every year. It's not actually slowing down. So let's go and talk about the product and how actually this country make their own money and how country actually they get all this money that's counted for the GDP. So if you talk about this country has no actual mineral, this country doesn't have actually natural resources like South Africa or Nigeria or Congo, but they only export coffee and tea. So that's the main product they export abroad. So most of the money they're getting, if you see here, the export is only made about $1 billion last year. So the most of this money they're making is coming from tourists and service, which means domestic production. So this is actually a very big deal, for actually an African country making more money internal than actually external. So this is actually a good start for this country. So let's talk about the population of this country. How many people actually live in this small country with $9.5 billion GDP? So there's actually about 12.5 million. There's about 12.4 million citizens in this country, So the country is very small, has a small GDP, and also has small population. So if you take this GDP and compare to the population, you're going to find out that actually this country is doing way better than Nigeria with almost $400 billion in GDP and also 200 million citizens. So let's go and talk about growth. How this country is growing actually compared to another countries, and also how do we actually calculate the future of this country. So the growth of this country is about 7.5%, about 7.5% since 1994. So after 1994, the country started growing exponentially. So 7.5% is actually a very big deal because if you put on this GDP, you can see in 10 years from now, this GDP will grow about 75%. So it's a very nice prediction. Talk about the currency. I love this country. I think they're doing a pretty good job. The economy is doing good. They are putting a lot of people out of poverty and all that stuff. But their currency is doing terrible. If you understand right now, the money they use, they call Rwandan francs. And $1 actually equal to 953.5 Rwandan francs. That is just $1. If you see 5 years back, 6 years back, the $1 was about 500. $1 was about 500 Rwandan francs. So if you check about the inflation of this country is about 6.9%. Not terrible, but also it's not good at all. So if you have your money in that country, you better keep your money in dollars or another different currency because this money is losing value so fast. So let's go and talk about the unemployment. Guys, every time I talk about unemployment in African country, I always don't agree with numbers because most of this country, they fake the numbers to attract the investors. If you see this number right here, and if you're from Rwanda, just let me know, comment below, and tell me if you agree with the numbers right here, right? So 2018, if you see 2018 right here, they reported that the unemployment rate was 1.02%. So that's a very, very low number. Even in the United States, we have about 10%, 29% right now with the pandemic. But 2018, this country reported about 1.02% unemployment rate. And last year, they did actually crazy now. The employment rate was under 1%. I have a lot of friends, from Rwanda. They always talk about the story about the country. Actually, most of them, they will disagree with this number. They don't think that 0.99% is actually the employment rate. So what the countries do is they take all those people who are actually doing some like part-time job or gig job, and they count them as employed, and then they inflate the number, they make it lower to actually attract the investors. So let's talk about the politics. A lot of people, they talk about the running politics. They talk about how the president is very phenomenal. He transformed the country from a poor country to a developed country. All that stuff. But for me, I actually have a different view about this guy who is in power, right? So this guy's name is Paul Kagame, something like that. So Paul Kagame is the president of this country since 2003, elected 2003, but he's been on power since 1995. So what do you know about this guy? This guy has been on power since 1995, and he was elected officially 2003, and his time was supposed to be 3 times, but 2016, he passed the law to actually increase his term until 2031. So he's going to be in power until 2031. A lot of people they will disagree, say this is not democracy, it's dictatorship. I don't know how you call it. I think he's doing a pretty good job, but I think it's also a better choice to have a different guy coming in with a different ideas. You know what I'm saying? So the guy's been in power since 2003 officially, but he's been in power as a president since 1995, and his name is Paul Kagame. And the country which colonized this country is Belgium. We know a lot about the history about colonization in Africa and all those problems they've been causing Africa from their political system, and also causing from the political system and also corruption and all that stuff. So let's talk about infrastructure. Why do I always like to talk about the infrastructure? Because infrastructure shows you how the country is growing, how the country is actually developing. Because if you want to produce product, you need actually infrastructure to transport a product. And if you actually want to get into a modern economy, you need internet to actually be able to do business. You know what I'm saying? So this country has no train. They don't have any single train station. They have multiple airports, but they have the big one is what they call Kagame International Airport, which is in Kigali. And they have a nice road. From my research, they have pretty nice road all over the country that people can actually travel internal, safe, and actually have a nice road. So all this data we just show, I want to actually do a little bit summarize from this country, and also what can we learn from this country. So this country has a pretty bad history, from after the genocide, stuff started going so bad, but this guy came in power, transformed this country with actual inspiration from Singapore, you know what I'm saying? And they have been praised all around the world that he actually is doing a pretty nice job. But what we do have to do is, even if he's doing a pretty nice job, putting all this unemployment rate down, and also building all this infrastructure, and also boosting all this economy and production, we need actually a fresh new idea. We don't want to have somebody in power since 1995 until now, and they're still in power, and you want to stay until 2031. That's so many years. We need a fresh, young idea to actually be in that country, or so bring a new idea, how to develop the economy. You cannot be the only smart person in a whole country. So, guys, if you're interested in learning more about African economy and the other stuff, learn about business and how you can actually start doing business and all that stuff, just go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll be releasing a video every week.